Okay, so picture this. You finally get a table at that Michelin-starred restaurant you've been wanting to try forever, right? You're browsing this incredible menu, and then you see the wine
Oh,
list.
yeah.
And it is massive, pages and pages of vintages and regions, and you're completely lost, right? But then this figure appears at your table, calm, confident, knows this list like the back of their hand. This, my friends, is the head sommelier.
Exactly. And there's so much more than just a wine expert.
Right. They are like the architect of taste for the entire restaurant.
Yeah, a blend of connoisseur, curator, conductor, all rolled into one.
I like that. So using these RoleCatcher resources we have, we're going to uncork all the secrets of this surprisingly complex job.
It's a good thing we have them, too. When I was reading through the RoleCatcher Career Guide, I was struck by how much goes on behind the scenes. There's a lot more to this job than just like swirling and sniffing expensive wine.
Give us the inside scoop. What are some things that someone who isn't a sommelier themselves wouldn't know about the role?
We'll take the wine list, for example. You would think it's as simple as just picking out the good stuff, the expensive stuff, right?
Yeah.
But a truly great head sommelier takes into account the food, the chef's style, what ingredients are in season, everything. It's about curating pairings that make the whole dining experience even better than it would have been otherwise.
It's like choreographing this dance between the food and the wine. I did actually read in the guide that sometimes head sommeliers actually work with the chef to design entire dishes around specific wines.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's not even starting on the inventory side of things. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of wine, often very old and delicate vintages too.
Yeah.
So you have to really know how to store everything, keep track of it all, manage relationships with all these suppliers from around the world.
Right. It's a lot more responsibility and pressure than people might think.
Yeah, definitely.
The guide even talked about how head sommeliers are responsible for training the entire staff on the wine list. So not only do they have to know this massive list inside and out, but they have to train everyone else to be at that same level.
It's a testament to just how vital leadership and mentorship are to the role. A truly great head sommelier doesn't just know their wine. They help their entire team to become these ambassadors of taste, too.
So true. And we haven't even gotten to what most people would consider the really fun part, talking to the guests, guiding them through this whole world of wine, and helping them find something new that they end up loving.
It's a pretty special job when you think about it like that.
Okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I want to back up just a little bit. The RoleCatcher guide talked about different stages of a sommelier's career, right? So walk us through how someone actually becomes this master of wine. What does that journey look like?
It's kind of like an apprenticeship, really. You usually start at the very bottom, maybe as a sommelier assistant, or you're working your way up in the restaurant, learning as you go.
So lots of pouring, not a lot of recommending at that point.
Exactly. But you're tasting everything you can,
Yes.
studying the different regions, memorizing the producers. It's all about soaking up as much knowledge as possible.
Gotcha. So when do you actually get to call yourself a sommelier?
Well, after you've got some experience under your belt, and I'm talking years, usually you might get promoted to a junior sommelier.
Okay.
And that's when you can start really putting all that knowledge into practice.
Like actually talking about the wine with guests.
Yeah. You might help with inventory, make some pairing suggestions. It's all about getting more comfortable on the floor and interacting with the people you're serving.
It's like leveling up.
Huh? There you go. Though the guide does make it clear that moving up to that next level, senior sommelier is a pretty big jump.
What makes it such a big jump?
Well, at that point, you're not really learning the ropes anymore. You are the expert, right? So you're putting together the wine list, you're managing the cellar, you're doing a lot of the staff training.
So basically the head sommelier, but without the official title.
Pretty much. It's a really important stepping stone to get there. And the guide actually gives some examples of what someone's, like, resume might actually look like at each of these different stages.
Oh, that's really useful.
Yeah, it is.
Which reminds me, RoleCatcher has that huge database of interview questions, right?
Right.
Over 120,000 of them, which is insane. I can only imagine how helpful that would be if you were prepping for an interview for one of these sommelier jobs.
It's invaluable, honestly. And it's not like they just give you like a standard answer to memorize either. You're encouraged to really think critically about your own experience and your own perspective. And then the platform gives you feedback using AI on how you can improve your answers.
Whoa. It's like having a personal interview coach.
Right.
Okay, so let's say you've put in the time, you've got the experience. The RoleCatcher guide also mentioned certifications being a big deal for senior sommeliers. They specifically called out the CMS and the WSET. What are those exactly?
Yeah, so the CMS is the Court of Master Sommeliers. It's kind of the top of the top in the sommelier world. Getting their Master Sommelier diploma, that's like the big one. And it is really tough. Only a handful of people manage to get it every year. And then there's the WSE, the Wine and Spirit Education Trust. They have a whole bunch of different certifications, all globally recognized, from like beginner stuff all the way up to really advanced levels,
Okay, so it's kind of like getting a degree, but in wine.
basically. And those certifications tell employers, especially at those high-end restaurants, that you really know your stuff.
Right, you're serious about this.
Yeah.
And having those letters after your name, that's going to look pretty good on a resume.
Oh, yeah.
Which reminds me, the guide mentioned that RoleCatcher doesn't stop at interview prep. They can actually help connect you with jobs too, right?
They do. And it's honestly one of the things I was most impressed by. They have this integrated job board, and it's all hospitality focused. So they have sommelier positions, of course, but it's everything in that world.
So if you are looking for a new opportunity, you can just go on RoleCatcher and see what's out there.
Exactly. It's really incredible how comprehensive it is.
It's kind of funny. We were saying earlier that the head sommelier is like this architect of taste, right?
Right.
And I almost feel like RoleCatcher is like the blueprint. They give you all the tools and the guidance you need to build this amazing career in this really fascinating field.
I like that.
Yeah.
And just like with a good blueprint, a strong foundation is key if you want to be successful and enjoy the process along the way.
It really is amazing. You don't always think about how tech can play a role in something as, traditionally hands-on as wine.
It's true.
But going back to that human element for a second, what are some of those qualities that make a head sommelier truly great? The stuff that goes beyond just like the technical knowledge. What sets someone apart?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it's kind of like, how you can have a pianist who can play all the right notes,
Yeah.
but it's not very moving. It's like that. You can know everything there is to know about wine, but a truly great head sommelier, they just have this like intuition about what people are going to love, even if the guest themselves doesn't even know how to describe it.
It's like they're reading the table, picking up on these unspoken preferences.
Exactly. It's about more than just pouring a glass of wine. It's about creating this experience, this aha moment for someone.
Right. And that takes a certain level of like charisma even.
Yeah.
Storytelling too.
Absolutely. Think about those descriptions you see on some wine lists.
Oh, yeah.
A really great head sommelier, they can tell you about a bottle of wine, and you are right there. You can picture the vineyard. You know what it smells like.
They transport you. It's like those scenes in movies, when the sommelier describes the wine and suddenly, even if you've never had it, it seems like this whole adventure.
It really is. They paint this whole picture for you, just with the flavors and the aromas.
This has been so fascinating, getting this inside look at what it really takes to be a head sommelier. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's one thing you really want our listeners to take away from all of this?
We talked about all the technical stuff, the career path, the certifications, the resources that are out there like RoleCatcher, and all that is really important. But I think more than anything, you have to be passionate about wine. It's that curiosity, that desire to keep learning and exploring. That's what's going to keep you going. Whether you want to be a sommelier or just want to be able to, pick out a good bottle at the store.
So true. Like with anything, really, if you love it, it's not really work.
Exactly. And the world of wine is so huge, there is always something new to discover.
Well said. And on that note, I think I know where I'm headed this weekend. Cheers to expanding our palates, and to everyone out there listening, we'll see you at the next deep dive.